Ion Dracut is sponsored by Lucky Oil, your local company.
Coming up next on Ion Dracut, there's a rate increase on tap for customers of the Kenwood Water Department. We have the full story straight ahead. Plus, Dracut begins an overhaul of the town's zoning bylaws. We have the details. Selectmen say, not so fast when it comes to changing the members of the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee. We take a closer look. The town faces an unfunded state mandate to accommodate multifamily housing. We have a special report. And don't miss the Dracut Minute about slamming the brakes on reckless legislation. All that and more right now.
From the DATV studios, this is Ion Dracut with Ryan Genest.
Good evening and welcome to Ion Dracut, your local source for news, views, and who's who. I'm Brian Genest. Thank you for watching. We begin tonight with proposed water rate increases for customers of the Kenwood Water Department. About 2,000 residences and businesses in East Dracut are serviced by that department, which buys its water from the cities of Lowell and Methuen. Here's Assistant Town Manager Victor Garofalo with more details about the proposed increases.
We need to increase our water purchase by $220,000. And the reason for that is two factors. One is we did receive a memo from the city of Lowell indicating that they are increasing their rates that we purchase water from them by 12.5%. So that equates to about $125,000 a year. The last time we increased rates in the water department was May 1st, 2018. So we are proposing to increase the current water rates from $250 per billing cycle for the first 3,500 cubic feet of water to $265 per billing cycle. So that's a $15 increase on those users, or $30 per year. And we also requesting to increase the excess usage, so anything over 33,000 cubic feet of water, from $6 per 100 cubic feet to $8 per 100 cubic feet. What we found is there's approximately 960 to 1,000 people that would be impacted by the $30 increase, and the remaining users, which is about 930 accounts, would be impacted by the increase in usage. By doing that increase, we would see an increase in our annual purchase or annual rates of about $130,000, which would accommodate the $125,000 increase we're going to see in Low. So the only way we're going to be able to fund the increase in Low is to increase rates. There is, unless the town wants to use an offset from the general fund budget, but there is no funds to do that because we are maxed to the limit on the general fund. So at this point, the only other source would be to increase rates.
They're doing new water in Tingsboro for the Dracut Water.
Yeah, the Dracut Water Supply.
Are we still going to be needing Lowell once that's online?
So I've actually requested that the Dracut Water Supply District put me on their agenda for the first meeting in October to discuss and try to explore the possibility of the town of Dracut, buying our water from Dracut Water Supply District instead of Lowell.
Okay.
And that's the first step for us. There's going to be some infrastructure issues to deal with that, but I'm trying to meet with them to see what their thoughts are and if they're interested in that. And that's the goal, is to eventually we'll buy our water from Dracut Water Supply District. It also gives us a backup. Right now, we don't really have a backup. If we have a water issue right now, we would have to come up with a plan to alleviate it. If we have at least a backup, it makes things a little bit easier. Even without this increase, we're still going to have to look at the rates because there's going to be a lot of infrastructure and improvements that need to happen to the Kenwood Water District. So unfortunately, this may be the beginning of some increases that are going to come down the pike that we can't avoid.
The things that take into consideration, it's just not water, but your energy's going up, utilities are going up, and that's playing a factor in why probably the rates from Low are going up significantly.
Next month, town meeting will vote on the proposed rate increases for the Kenwood Water Department. We'll keep you updated on any developments, including any future changes in water suppliers. In other news, Dracut is overhauling the town's zoning bylaws. The Zoning Bylaw Review Committee has just wrapped up the first phase of that project. Here's a closer look at the details and next steps from Community Development Director Allison Manugian.
So the zoning bylaw rewrite committee has been working hard. We've been working with BSC Group, and they have outlined for us a process that's been working really well. We have effectively at a high level 2 steps. The first one is what we're here really to focus on tonight, which is the recodification. And the intent is to bring that to town meeting in November for the approval there. This first step is really intended to create the framework to the heavy lift, which will be the next phase, where we'll be going through all of the details of all of the sections. This phase just went through. We eliminated conflicts. We had sections where, one requirement was for topography shown at 1 foot. Another area said 2 feet. These kinds of exciting things needed to be updated for consistency. There were some internal references that didn't make any sense. And then we wanted to make sure, obviously, that things are all legal. This is the current table of contents, and I know that you can't really read those, but I think it gives you a feel for how difficult it is to try and figure out what you're looking for and where you'll find it. This is the proposed table of contents. It looks much more similar to other communities. This is a very typical format for zoning bylaws. Applicants, attorneys, engineers are very used to this. So the recodification, as I said, is basically an effort to reorganize. We've addressed some formatting, inconsistencies, and we are proposing a couple of things that I'll get into on the next slide that are slightly bigger changes that came about largely due to concerns about potential legal challenges. The recodification does not change any of the uses currently. It does not change any of the map or the divisions. The next step will be phase 2. And there, as I said, we will start to look into the details of making sure that the actual regulations work well, that they include and help us move toward the vision and goals of the master plan, that they allow for efficient and predictable permitting for applicants, and that they set the stage well for enforcement and administration here. Once we get into that step, which will be after town meeting, we will have public working sessions, and we will have smaller pieces that we will bring for various public hearings and discussion before we get to town meeting. We anticipate at this point that some of this work will be done for next June, and some of it may push into fall town meeting for next year. A lot of it will depend on how many changes need to be made and what the feedback is that we get along the way.
We'll keep you updated on the zoning bylaws rewrite, including bringing you periodic updates on proposed changes. In related news, selectmen say not so fast when it comes to changing the membership of the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee. The board delayed a proposal brought forward by Selectman Heather Santiago Hutchings to remove the Board of Health member and replace them with a member of the now defunct Master Planning Committee. One member of the board questioned whether there's already a chosen but unnamed candidate waiting in the wings for that seat on the committee. Here's a look at the discussion.
The reason this came about is because the original membership included one Board of Health member, and they've been unable to make that commitment. They've let Allison know they just can't do it. So as a result, we've had one meeting where we didn't make the quorum, but it's put us at a real deficit, especially because this is a long-running committee, and there will be times when people are on vacation or holidays. And we are meeting every single month for the, next year and a half, 2 years. So this was the pleasure of the committee I'm representing.
Did you go out to the Board of Health to see if there was another person that wanted to sit here, or are you just cutting them out altogether?
So I spoke with Dave Willett, the health agent, and he spoke with the board, and none of them are able to make the commitment.
Did the zoning bylaw review committee vote to make this change?
Did we take an official vote?
I don't think there was an official vote. There was discussion, and the consensus was that it was fine.
I think these members have been serving the town for many, many, many years. And if for some reason they can't do it, I think, we appoint. So I don't know why we wouldn't have them come in and tell us they can't do it for whatever reason. I don't like to hear it from someone else that they can't. I would rather hear it from them, seeing we appoint them.
So you want to make a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
Sure. Motion to continue until the next meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? So if the charter changes, would that position have to be posted on the website and wait the 14 days? Like
Probably,
if a new member comes on, right? I mean, that's how we're
have
moving
to go through the new
forward.
process.
So if the charter changes, then we would have to post it the next day and do all that?
Right.
Okay.
But now, my understanding is it would only be somebody from the master plan committee?
It would be, there are 16 people that would be
Okay.
eligible for the
Who
position.
made that decision? It would only be somebody from the master plan committee.
Well, that's what
The whole
that's what
team, the
proposal
6 of
is.
us.
Well, it's just a
Decided.
proposal, but I mean, we're not voting on that. I mean, it could be someone at large. I mean, why would you post it the same? Why does it have to be specifically from the master plan committee? Why?
Because they're the content experts. We're incorporating the master plan into the zoning bylaws. So we want someone who has that expertise that have
But
already
it's the
spent 2
same,
years
Heather.
developing.
Why couldn't you put it at large and still get someone who is just as qualified?
Is there someone on the master plan committee you don't want on this committee? Is that what's happening
Well,
here?
it sounds like there's somebody on it that you want.
No, there's probably 5 people I would love to be on it. But it seems like there's people on the master plan committee that you don't want in this spot.
Now, how did you pick that out of what I said?
Because any other time we've made a change in charter for membership, it's gone right through. And this one really makes sense because the master plan committee is the
You
content
came here, you wanted to
expert.
remove that from the Board of Health to begin with, which we don't know if that's going to happen or not going to happen.
But Allison's already confirmed she's reached out to the 3 people. So it's almost like you think I'm lying or Allison's lying.
That's not what I'm saying.
So what are you saying? Why are
We
you not?
appoint them, I
Right.
think we have the right to talk with them. I don't like someone else making a decision for me.
According to the Lowell Sun, that discussion was apparently about Phil Tebow, the perennial candidate who's lost 9 town elections, including 3 head-to-head matchups against Dracut, served as chairman of the Master Planning Committee. Selectmen are expected to revisit the proposal brought forward by Santiago Hutchings after they talk with members of the Board of Health themselves. We'll bring you a full update. Turning now to a special report about a statewide housing shortage. As a result of that shortage, Dracut faces an unfunded state mandate to accommodate more than 1,200 multifamily housing units or lose major state grant funding. State legislators included that mandate in an economic development bill passed last year, with the intention of providing multifamily housing in communities near MBTA commuter rail stations. To comply with the law, the town must create a new zoning district that allows for 15 multifamily housing units to be built per acre. Right now, the town has a 1-acre requirement for single-family homes and a 2-acre requirement for multifamily homes. Here's a closer look at the details.
So the MBTA community housing is something we've talked about several months ago. At that point, everything was sort of tentative. The state had not yet released their final guidelines. They hadn't made their final decisions about what it would look like for Dracut. They got a lot of pushback from a variety of entities, made a lot of changes. Ultimately, unfortunately, Area 1 impacts Dracut. The requirements for Dracut are that we have to create a district of at least 50 acres. That district ultimately has to create capacity for at least 1,233 units, which is 10% of the housing currently in Dracut. The gross density needs to be at least 15 units per acre, and the development has to be by right. So what that means effectively is that we can have site plan review, we can't have special permits, we are not allowed to have age restrictions or bedroom count controls on it. This is kind of what we're looking at a high level. Currently, the state is talking about this as a mandate, and if we are not compliant, then we lose eligibility for the 3 large grant programs at the bottom. They've also made it very clear that that is the current plan and that there will be additional consequences in all likelihood down the line for communities that don't comply. Locally, we will need to decide at a very high level these 2 questions. What should our requirements look like? Where do we want to have the district be? We can require an affordable component. We can have this as base zoning or as an overlay. And all of these conversations will be ongoing. We are intending in October to do a workshop with the select board and the planning board to start delving into what these mean. This is not intended to be everything you need to know about MBTA housing. This is just an overview at this point. In terms of the district overall, it can be divided into segments. They all have to be at least 5 acres. One has to be at least 25 acres. So again, we'll start looking at where those could fit.
Members of the Board of Selectmen and Planning Board plan to hold a joint meeting this month about the housing mandate. By the end of January, the town must submit its action plan and timeline to the state for review. By the end of 2024, the bylaw and map for the new multifamily zoning district must be approved by town meeting. We'll have an exclusive interview with town manager Ann Vandal about the housing mandate and its potential impacts on Dracut on the November episode. In economic development news, ribbon cutting ceremonies were held recently at 2 new Dracut businesses. Hammer's Studio is up and running at 1934 Lakeview Avenue in the Beaverbrook Mill. And Everybody's Sports Bar is open for business at 570 Textile Avenue.
You're watching Eye on Dracut, winner of the Hometown Media Award for News.
Next, it's time to lighten things up with JMAC Around Town. Here's John McDonald, our man on the street, talking with townspeople about all things Dracut.
All right, I'm John McDonald, and we are here with
Danielle.
Danielle and
Aspen.
what is it? Aspen. All right, very good, very good. What year did Dracut become a town? 1492, 1620, 1701, 1860, or 1976? Introduce yourselves.
I'm Hunter. I'm Spencer.
Hunter and Spencer. You know, it sounds like a 1970s crime drama. Hunter and Spencer, that's right. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, right. So, what year did Dracut become a town? 1492, 1620, 1701, 1860, or 1976? And we've got some lovely people here to participate in our questions about Dracut. Ask your name first. First name only.
Jean.
Jean?
Jenny Grace.
Oh, very nice to meet you both. So here's the first question. What year did Dracut become a town? All right, I'll give you some multiple answers, okay? Some choices here. 1492, 1620, 1701, 1860, or 1976?
I'm Danny Penn with New Era Plumbing and HVAC.
I'm going to ask you some simple questions. I'll give you a multiple choice, and we'll see where we end up, all right?
Yep.
All right, Danny. What year did Dracut become a town? 1492, 1620, 1701, 1860, or 1976? Any idea?
1776.
No, 1701. The town of Dracut is 321 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Unbelievable. Right?
1701. What was the 16 year? That one.
1620. It was actually when the Mayflower arrived, I think. Yeah,
That's
but
exactly
that's right. Right, exactly. You had the correct answer.
I'll have to go with the 17.
1701?
1701.
Congratulations, you're 1 for 1. How about that, huh?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Dracut was incorporated as a town on February 26, 1701. The town is 321 years old.
1701.
Very good. Excellent, excellent. Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right. I'm John McDonald. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Special thanks to John McDonald and to everyone who took the time to talk with him. JMAC Around Town is an exclusive regular segment right here on Eye on Dracut. We hope you enjoyed it. Now, it's the Town Time Machine. All the following events happened in the month of October. Do you know what year it was? Dracut Town Manager James Duggan abruptly resigned after 6 years on the job. U.S. presidential candidate Bernie Sanders had a heart attack. Simone Biles became the most decorated gymnast in history. Nancy Drew premiered on the CW.
I'd spend 10,000 hours and 10,000 more. Oh, if that's what it takes to learn that sweetheart of yours.
And Dan and Shay had a hit with Justin Bieber. So what year was it? 2017, 2018, or 2019?
Do you miss the road that you grew up on? Did you get your middle name from your grandma?
We have the answer coming up next. But first, it's time for the Dracut Minute. Tonight's topic is slamming the brakes on reckless legislation. The Massachusetts legislature has a reputation for coming up with bad ideas and turning them into law. Giving illegal immigrants state driver's licenses is just the latest one. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. The new law, slated to take effect next July, is one that affects the public safety of every person in our state. It became the law after state legislators overrode a veto by Governor Charlie Baker, who warned that because the state currently automatically registers driver's license applicants to vote, the new law could lead to confusion about voter eligibility. In other words, first, illegal immigrants will get driver's licenses, then they'll be voting in our elections. That's the kind of slippery slope that we don't need in our town or our state. Granting driver's licenses to immigrants who have entered our country illegally rewards them for breaking the law, and that makes no sense. That's the reason the Fair and Secure Massachusetts Committee gathered more than 100,000 signatures to place the issue on the November statewide ballot. Law and order matters. So does common sense. Unfortunately, common sense isn't very common in the state legislature. But this time, you get to have a say in the voting booth. Make your voice heard. Keep our roads safe and our elections secure. Vote no on driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. Vote no on question 4. And that's the Dracut Minute. Now, back to the Town Time Machine.
When you close your eyes, tell me what are you dreaming?
So what year was it? Duggan resigned. Biles vaulted into history. Nancy Drew premiered. And 10,000 Hours was a hit. It all happened in October 2019.
If it's 10,000 hours or the rest of my life, I'm gonna love.
Finally tonight, we remember town resident Bob Corey, who passed away last month.
Well, good evening, folks. My name is Gay Corey, Bob Corey behind the camera.
For more than 30 years, Bob Corey and his wife Gay covered special events in town on Dracut Access Television. Corey was a founding member of DATV's board of directors. He also served as a commissioner for the Dracut Water Supply District for more than 20 years.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Bob Corey was 81 years old. Condolences to Bob Corey's family and friends. May he rest in peace. And that's Eye on Dracut for October 2022. Thank you for watching. I'm Brian Genest. From the DATV studios, good night.
Eye on Dracut is sponsored by Lucky Oil, your local company.